Welcome everyone to our first One-and-One University City Community Association event. My name is Gemma Samala and I'm the current president of UCCA. UCCA holds general public meetings which will now be held every other month on the odd numbered months. So we had one in January and the next one will be in March. During the even months, this month, the board will meet for working meetings, and during these months we will also have these special one-on-one events. We will discuss one topic for 1 hour, giving our community a more in-depth look into issues of concern. Today's topic is Pure Water San Diego. We will be hearing from the project construction team as well as from the city's Department of Transportation. The Pure Water project was first proposed by then Mayor Kevin Faulconer in November 2014 as a way to purify enough wastewater to provide 1/2 of San Diego's water supply, making it a more local and sustainable water source, after expecting to be fully operational by 2035. Phase 1 was kicked off on August 20, 2021 by Mayor Gloria and was now currently under construction, and with phase 2 in the planning stages. UCCA has been reporting on the Pure Water project consistently since plans began to be made public in 2018. I'm going to let our presenters talk more about the project and in particular how it affects our University C. And after their presentations, we will have time for questions. There are note cards in the back and pens available if you want to write down questions during the presentation so you don't forget them later. And so today our presenters are, we have Sarah Bowles, Community Outreach Specialist for Pure Water San Diego. We have Clem Wassenberg, Construction Manager, City of San Diego Engineering and Capital Projects, and Everett Hauser, Program Manager, City of San Diego Transportation Department. So let's welcome them here today.
Yeah, thank you for your time and allowing us to give you another update on the Pure Water project here that's currently in construction in your neighborhood. The project specifically is Marina Pipeline Northern Alignment and Tunnels. It's part of the Pure Water program. And this particular program, this particular project installs about 5 miles of sewer pipe, a 48-inch sewer pipe running north, and a 30-inch diameter brine line transporting brine towards the south. Both of these pipelines are going to be installed in a double wide trench. The construction method is open trench installation here. And our project also includes 3 tunnels where we can install the pipe in open trench installation. That's from the north to south, that is under the I-805, under the Rose Canyon at the railroad tracks, and at San Clemente in the Caltrans right away under the creek. Here you see on the slide, you see the project alignment. The project alignment goes in the south along Genesee Avenue from Appleton, all the way along Genesee to Nobel. There we're kind of like making the right turn, heading eastbound on Nobel until we make a left turn to northbound on Town Center Drive. And then from there, another right turn to go eastbound on Executive, where we're tunneling and connecting to the treatment plant that is currently under construction there. Unfortunately, as you can see, if you're regular attendance of our meetings here, last months, because of all the rain that we had very little progress. There was very little construction going on. We only got a few hundred linear feet installed in the last months, so we're still working kind of like in the same areas, which is here on Genesee northbound from Governor down towards the high school, and also here on Town Center Drive in the area of Excalibur. So what can you expect during construction? Generally, our work occurs during the daytime, with occasional night work. So general working hours are Mondays to Friday from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Sometimes we'll work Saturday if needed. If we do that, we start a little later. It's going to be from like 8 to 4 p.m. If you've driven the alignment, you have also seen that we're setting up carrier for the safety of the public and the workers to separate the construction zone from the public right-of-way that's open for the public. We are providing access for residences, residents, businesses, emergency vehicles, so that will be maintained. However, it's construction, there's always a chance of a delay somewhere. Construction equipment and material staging will be in the work zone, and it will move along with the construction crews along the alignment. We have possible full-time intersection closures or short-term closures due to weekend work, but if that's the case, we will let the public know. We're making announcements beforehand if that happens. Please follow posted detours for traffic, bike lanes and sidewalks. The trails in Rose Canyon and San Clemente, we'll try to keep them open wherever possible. Please don't park in the no construction zones. We don't want to tow vehicles if we don't have to. And it is construction, so please anticipate impacts such as noise, dust, bright lights if we do night work, and obviously there's construction vehicles that are associated with our work. So now, a quick overview of the current work sites. First area is Town Center Drive. Here the contractor is now working in front of Excalibur Drive, and he's heading south towards Renaissance. This is daytime work from 7 a.m. to 5:30. The work has started. The contractor has recently shifted his carrier construction zone further south. We're anticipating that we are at Renaissance at the end of March 2024. Here you see some pictures of the work. This shot was taken just before the rain started. You see this is at Golden Haven and Town Center Drive. Contractor is filling the pipe here, and we did manage to get this area paved just before the rain started. So the paving has now extended pretty much just past this intersection. Here you see another drone shot. This is a little bit further south between Golden Haven towards Excalibur. You see our trench here. The pipe has been installed, the sand is on top, so the contractor is backfilling and getting ready to wrap up this segment too. The next work zone is on Genesee Avenue, north of Governor Drive. Here we're working north of Governor. You've probably driven it. Currently we have traffic in both directions moved over into the northbound of Governor Drive. The southbound lanes are closed for our construction. We are working in the daytime from 7 a.m. to 5:30. Southbound lanes closed due to construction, like I said, and a single lane of traffic in each direction in the northbound lanes. This work is ongoing. Work was coordinated with the University High School, especially to divert all traffic from the southern student gate to Centurion Square as the only way in or out in the mornings. In the afternoons, the school will open the student gate though to allow students to leave. And we also coordinated this work with the Elan Terraza apartments, which have the driveway of Luigi Court, which is pretty much where the picture was taken from. Here you see the contractor unloading some pipes before they install them. Here's some drone shots of this particular area. See the trench is open. Contractor is working really close to the trees in the median. You see how wide the trench is. The pipe's installed here on the picture on the right-hand side. You see the contractor was just excavating and he's setting a shoring box. Here you see the trench next to the trees. The good news is our work is monitored by an arborist because we were concerned that we would impact the roots and the trees itself. However, so far that has not been the case. We've encountered very little roots, nothing that has triggered any tree removal yet. So we're past like half the trees, and if the trend continues, we're happy to say that we probably don't have to remove a single tree as part of this project. Quick update on the tunneling work. So for those of you that pay close attention to the project, OHL, our contractor, has mobilized new equipment there. So the work was sitting there for a while, but now they're continuing. There's one crane here in the Marion Bear parking lot. Marion Bear Park parking lot. Another one was mobilized to Genesee Avenue. Was a second pit that we're excavating there. Marion Bear Park and the trails are open for use during our construction. However, the Marion Bear parking lot itself is closed for public safety. If you want to utilize the trail, please use the alternate parking at 5233 Regents Road. Here you see the I-805 operation. The lawn shaft, which is 105 feet deep here, has been excavated. The counterpart, the receiving shaft, has been excavated here, was in the area of the treatment plant. However, we're still at 196 feet of tunnel. Currently, the machine is being modified to address the harder than anticipated soil that the contractor is encountering during this tunneling operation. Sarah, did you want to go on to the public outreach?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you to Gemma and Diane for having us on this first in-person meeting for the year. I'm Sarah Bowles. I am doing the public outreach for this section of the project. I have met a lot of you in person, but if not, I'll have my information at the end of this if you want to reach out with any questions. As far as our notification process, we do a lot of things to reach out to the community in each section that we work in. So we'll have construction notices with maps on our website. We conduct stakeholder meetings, so we've worked with Westfield UTC and Irvine Company and Alexandria Real Estate, UC High School, all sorts of different entities within the community. We do postcard mailers. The last one we did was actually for the La Jolla Village Drive intersection work, so we really target those for big impacts. The community news article content, again, thank you so much for letting us be part of your community newsletter. Will be in the next edition as well. We also have e-blast content. If you haven't signed up yet, we have a sign-up list back there. We won't spam you. You can just put your email address in there and you'll just get construction alerts that are really timely in the neighborhood. And then social media, we're pretty active on it. If you go onto @PureWaterSD at any of your channels, Facebook, Twitter, which I guess is now X, and Instagram, you can just find us there and you'll see some construction updates, not just for this project, but for the rest of the alignment as well. Fact sheets and pocket cards, we've got some back there if you're interested in grabbing some. And then we also coordinate with Waze and Google Maps to connect on any intersection closures or lane closures or things like that. Next slide. I think a lot of you are already subscribed, but if you aren't, you can also do the QR code here. Our phone line is here. If you want to take a photo of that, you can always reach out and call us. And then my email address is right there on the bottom. So feel free to reach out and I'll work with Clem and try to get to your questions. I think with that, we're good for any questions you might have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Clem, when you run into a delay, like due to weather, and that has to be made up on the back end, is that going to increase costs because labor is going to cost more down the road?
No, in case of inclement weather, the contractor gets a day added to the contract, but at no cost.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I don't know whether Diane was going to ask this question. It has to do with future construction plans relative to, I think the term is the vents, air vents. Will you be doing that, or is that going to be a separate project once the pipeline is there? I'm talking about the proposal to have minimally 2 places where the lines will be vented.
That is correct. That's part of our construction contract.
Okay.
So we are installing the airbags at the previously specified locations. And I know the community concern is the odors. However, whatever air comes out of the pipeline is going to be funneled through scrubbers that contain about 450 pounds of a substance that is essentially filtering any fluids out of the air and any odor. They're kind of like carbon filters.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And that, has any of that started yet, or is
Yeah.
it has started? Okay.
If you drive the alignment, you'll see some square
There.
concrete panels. That's actually the lid to the underground vaults where these the airbags and the scrubbers are going to be installed.
Okay.
So they're not active yet, obviously, but yes, by the time we're done with the pipeline, these are going to be done too.
Anyone who just
Will
make
they
a
be
statement?
above ground? Those vents, will they be above ground or in below?
Below.
I want to thank you, and Sarah, we do have better signage now in terms of on Genesee, heading south up towards Governor Drive. People can see it. Hey, stay to the right. It's much safer, and I appreciate you guys doing that.
You know what? You had a very good point. What we didn't know, that sign was actually stolen.
Oh.
Somebody hooked it up and took it.
Really?
So we're not going to see it tonight. We will
No, we had to replace it. We were
Oh.
wondering, like,
Yeah.
well, wait a second, we had a sign there, so somebody stole it.
Gosh.
Thanks, I'm Bill Beck, I live in Vista La Jolla, and have a couple questions. I'm gonna start with coming down from Governor and then wanting to make a left turn onto Genesee. You have only one left turning lane. It's a disaster in the morning. You can't get through. The parents are lined up, the cars are parked, the parents are lined up, and there's only one left turn lane. You should open a second lane. It would make the traffic flow much better in that particular area. That's just my opinion, and it's really not anything that,
I wish we could. That was discussed, and I don't want to assign any blame, but the traffic engineers feel that it is not safe because if we're allowing a dual left turn onto northbound Genesee, our taper starts right behind the turn. So the traffic engineers see a high potential for accidents there.
yeah, well, I have to say, your traffic engineers did a rotten job in front of my community because they have been very near, I hate to use this, near misses. There have almost been a lot of accidents in that particular area. And I was standing there with Carlos, you know who Carlos is?
Yeah.
And we were trying to explain to him what the problem was. And as we're standing there, one of my neighbors is coming into making a turn, stops at the stop sign, and somebody who's coming down the hill is in the wrong lane, headed right to him. They stopped about 10 feet apart, and Carlos saw the whole thing. Your workers have stop signs, they hold them up. One guy almost got run over.
Yeah.
It's just, we were told there'd be police there. There's never been a police officer there. They should stop cars that are jumping the lights. You have to do what you've said. You haven't done what you've said. You know, you've tried, I'll give you that, but you haven't done what you've said. My particular entrance and exit had a tremendous bad incident, and I think maybe you didn't mention it, I think I'll mention it. A water line was broken. A geyser of 30 feet went up into the air. Took them almost an hour to shut it down. I was told about it, I was there, I saw it. And the problem was somewhat resolved because she sent water tankers, at least one that I saw, for people to get drinking water. This evening, you were very kind to tell me in advance, guess what? We're gonna shut you down again. I said, when? Well, we don't know. And it's always the same. It's the traffic engineers, it's the city water department, it's her, it's him. It's always somebody else. I understand that you have a problem dealing with this, but now we're gonna have another, possibly 2 more weeks or more of this area. This flood or pipe that was broken caused a cave-in on the street, partial. It was repaired, but it's very bad. And this area is an active area, people going in and out, and unfortunately, I don't know what to tell you. My residents keep calling me. I'm president of these HOA, and I get calls all the time. And Sarah, if you can let me know when you're shutting down the water again in advance, just give me 24 hours. I'll send a email to everybody that I have and let them know. But and yeah, what hours it will be helpful. It's unfortunate, but like Barry mentioned, certain things happening. A lot of things are happening that we were promised, but we haven't seen them. And I'm not blaming you specifically. Unfortunately, you're the one standing there with the mic.
I represent the city.
And you're the one who has to hear it, you know, and it's really a shame. One more thing, when you're driving up Genesee, and you have an arrow that's pointing to go to the left, that's never on in the morning. At nighttime, it's as dark as can be. You can't, there's no arrow, it doesn't work. It's not
When
working.
you're at 6:30 in the morning, we have to go up that area, and the arrow isn't there, and it's dark even when we leave at 6, and you don't see it. The second one's on, but not the first one to give people a
Anyway.
heads up that you gotta go over.
Can you let me know which one that is? I'd be happy to take a
Yeah,
look
as
at
you're
it.
coming from, by the high school.
Heading
and you're
southbound?
going from the south, you're going south. You're heading
Okay.
south. The first one that shows you an arrow, it's not on.
Yeah, these are solar powered, and when the batteries are weaker, they need to be replaced. So
But let me ask you something, Clem, wait, hold on. You say it's solar power, you know that. It's rained, it's been cloudy, we haven't had it on. Does anybody go out to check it, to see if it works the next day, to see if it's done right?
You know, the contractor has
Again, it's
gentleman.
the contractor.
No.
It's the guy next door. It's never anybody we're speaking to. With all due respect to
You know,
you.
you can speak to me and I'll pass it on, you know, but I'm not personally driving the alignment. The contractor has one person that drives it and checks for traffic control and stormwater requirements.
I just can't wait
It's
for
a
you guys to
daily
be done
occurrence.
and then give it to somebody else who's heading.
I understand. We'll do our best, and we'll do our best along Excalibur. I understand your concern. It is a worry for us too, that people run the stop sign. Unfortunately, we don't have the authority to issue tickets. We've talked to SDPD. We asked them for additional enforcement. They have told us that they would look into it. Unfortunately, that's all I can do. If I would have the authority, I would enforce the stop signs, but I don't.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, just a quick
Yes,
question. When do we expect phase 1 to be done? And does that mean at that point, the water treatment plant will be in use and we can go visit that as well?
There's different completion dates, we were going to bring a person tonight that was kind of like give a programmatic update. However, unfortunately, that person is in hospital. So the general plan is every component needs to be in place for pure water to function. So all these projects are going to come online, probably not at exactly the same day, but kind of like in the same time frame for commissioning so that the pipes can be put in service. We can pump pure water from point A to the reservoir if the last stick of pipe has not been installed.
And do you know when that would, roughly when that will be?
We can get that to
Yeah.
you. We'd have to check with him.
2025 is for our project.
At one point, you were mentioning there had not been, on the Nobel stretch, that half a mile, there was no contractor assigned. Has that been done? Have they arranged for a contractor to do that leg of the pipeline?
The Nobel portion,
Yeah, it would be from where you come down, and then you're gonna make a turn. to
Yeah.
get- And at one point, you were saying there had not been some agreement as to who was gonna do that, what team or contract. Is that moving forward? I mean, when you reach the end point on Nobel, and then you're heading, what would be west towards Genesee, that section, what crew is doing that?
Whichever crew is getting there first. Right now, if you're looking at it, the crew that's heading northbound on Genesee is in the vicinity of the high school, and the crew that is southbound on Town Center Drive is essentially fairly close to the intersection.
So it's gonna be one of those,
Yes,
okay, yeah,
yeah, but it's the same contract.
okay, thank you.
Well, if there's no more questions, I know the community was also interested that as part of the restoration, street restoration that we do, we're gonna stripe new bike lanes. And Everett Hauser is here with us. He's the program manager for the bike program.
All right, good evening, everyone. Everett Hauser, Program Manager with the City's Transportation Department. And in our program, we follow any resurfacing opportunity that we can. So that includes slurry, overlay, and a lot of CIP pipeline projects that go all across the city typically with long alignments, which we like because then we can get more continuous bikeway installations with that. So as Glenn mentioned, we're following the alignment. Most of these streets already had Class 2 bike lanes, so we're making enhancements to them. But where we can, we're upgrading them to Class 4 separated bikeways, and I'll show you some details about that. Doing these improvements is a big mayoral and city council priority. It's identified in their budget priorities. The city is a Vision Zero city, so we have a goal of eliminating severe and fatal injuries for all travel modes. But of course, people walking and biking are some of our most vulnerable road users. We have a complete streets policy, so this falls in line with meeting all those goals that the city has set out. Here's an image of the existing bike network in the University City area. That's the pink area. And you see a lot of blue lines. As I mentioned, there's a lot of existing Class 2 bike lanes striped on the street. And this project is going to close a couple gaps. I'll go over Town Center, Nobel, and Genesee. And then if you're not familiar with the classification system on these bikeway maps, again, it's yellows are Class 1s. Those are separated like Rose Canyon. Class 2s, striped bike lanes on the street. Those are the blues you see. Greens are Class 3 shared lane facilities on your local neighborhood streets. But what we're moving towards is the purple lines that you'll start seeing as Class 4 separated bikeways. We do work closely with City Planning Department and the current UC Community Plan update that's underway. We know that that's got a lot of emphasis on increasing the connectivity for our bicycle network, making it more attractive for people to use, to get all destinations in this community. So while it's not yet adopted, again, following the existing bicycle master plan, the existing community plan, and being informed by the direction that that's going for street network concepts. All right, getting into some of the details. Here's a picture of Town Center Drive in its current condition, but now with a hole patched up that was formerly there just a couple weeks ago. And a quick snippet of the striping plan that we're proposing to implement to put in the bikeway, close that gap that's on the bicycle network, and then have a buffer between the bikeway and the travel lanes, as well as our kind of typical posts that go in there to increase the separation and the visibility. So that's one example that's coming on after the pipeline is installed, the road is resurfaced, and the ultimate striping goes in. Here's another example of this area on Nobel that will, again, get the similar treatment, install the bikeway, buffer, and the posts separating the road users. And finally, an example of Genesee Avenue where there's an existing bike lane, but it's probably just about 5 feet wide. So what we do is our engineers right-size the lanes, design the buffer space, and then we'll add posts to that, as well as conflict striping in driveways, intersections, things like that, especially through the 52 area. Work closely with Caltrans to make sure that that is enhanced as much as it can given the ramp configurations that are out there. And that about wraps it up. We'll be at the end of the pipeline project, so the very last thing after the pipes are in, the road's resurfaced, and the ultimate striping goes in. Yes?
Just out of curiosity, are these new bike lanes, not this one here, but the one you mentioned before, will you be losing lanes of traffic, or is it just making the lane of traffic a little narrower? If there's 2 lanes, will the 2 lanes remain and a bike lane added? How does that work?
Yeah, so typically the space trade-off that we work with is to keep the same number of travel lanes, but then in some cases it is removing the parking from a street.
Okay, and on the picture you showed, going back a couple, the town center, for example, one more.
Yes.
On the right-hand side, that's the community where we live. So there's 2 lanes of traffic headed in the direction we're looking.
Mhm.
So they will remain as 2 lanes, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what you can see.
Yeah.
What's going on
But yeah, basically right there, two travel lanes will remain.
Okay.
And what's going on Nobel? How are you accommodating the bike lanes on Nobel?
Similarly, as you can see, there's large stretches of existing red curb, and then just in a few cases where there's some remaining parking that will be replaced or repurposed. Yes, in the back.
Yes, when you're talking about the buffer lanes, is it gonna be like how they have, like in Gaslamp or other parts of the city where you've got the bike lane that's painted, then a parking lane, and then the travel lanes?
Not typically in these examples.
Not for here, okay.
Right. So again, happy to share any other striping plans. We can do that if there's enough space to repurpose things, but to keep the number of travel lanes, it's the parking spaces that get repurposed to make these network connections.
And will the bike lanes be painted in? So it's boldly shown that it's for bicycles?
Yes. So does this have a pointer or the top one?
Yes,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
at the top.
Yeah, so here's the buffer space. This will be the bike lane along the curb. And like here's Genesee, so again, here's your existing bike lane. This will move over. You'll have a 10-foot lane here, a 12-foot lane here, 3 feet, and then the 7-foot bike lane. Yes, Chris.
Yeah, so on Nobel, the one you had up there, yeah. This shows parking, I assume that the little strip of parking goes.
Right, so as I mentioned, long stretches of existing red curb, so just that little space of that would be repurposed with the bikeway to have it be continuous there.
Okay, all right, so that's not involved in any of the HOA stuff that was.
No, because all of this would be generic
Oh,
public
okay,
street
so
parking.
that's not gonna be, because there are places along Gilman where things were done in a particular way with parking installed when the development was built, but that's not the case as far as you know in this thing.
Not to my knowledge along here.
All right, and let's see, so for Nobel, you also have plans to continue the restriping project going west I-5.
Yes, correct. We have a slurry project that we've bundled our restriping with on that.
Okay, so that's a sewer,
Slurry.
oh, it's a slurry,
Street
yeah, right, that's a
transmission.
slurry project, right. So that, I assume, will take out a lot of the parking along there, or is it gonna be like we see in Balboa Park, along Park Boulevard, where you've got lane, parking, bike lane? Is that?
Not so much on Nobel, west of Genesee. The first block has a mix already of mostly red curb, I think maybe a little bit of parking on the north side, but again, most of it is already no parking. And then the next block, that does have the majority of it, and then the following one, but no floating parking as you were describing.
Okay. And then I note that, kind of in passing, that Jeff Dossick had noted a spot of Town Center Drive right south of La Jolla Village Drive, which he called particularly difficult lane or difficult bike lane segment. You don't really have that shown.
Yeah, so Jeff was talking about.
And
Let's see. So here's Genesee, here's Nobel, the gap we're gonna close, here's Town Center, and then the last one
yeah, this is where everybody's making right turns to effectively get on the freeway.
yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, Anyway, if you could be prepared to address that tomorrow night, that would be good.
For sure, yeah, that one is a particularly tough one because I think there's dual lefts, at least 2 throughs, and then
Yeah, that's
dual rights.
got a huge number of
Yeah.
lanes associated with it. They're all kind of active at the same time. And similarly, there's a piece he identified from the turn-in of the signal just east of the Palisades turn-in, which is, I forget what that's called, but on Nobel east of Genesee,
Okay.
right? It's the last segment as you go down to Town Center Drive.
Mm.
And that one's got a huge number of parked cars along it. Is there a plan for that side of Nobel?
If I recall correctly about that consideration, either it was included and then it will be repurposed, or it was not part of the resurfacing package and thus not open to us to do the restriping at the time. So that's often, again, the difficulty with packaging up with projects is to make sure that whatever's being repaved can be restriped.
Yeah,
And
if you could be,
sometimes there's
if
gaps.
you could think about that particular segment as well for tomorrow night, from Town Center Drive west along Nobel up to the next signal is what he's identified as particularly difficult
Okay,
segment. And if you could do that, that would be great.
great, thanks.
All right, heads up. Okay, that's it for me.
All right.
Any questions?
Any other questions? Yes.
This may not be exactly your responsibility, but with our recent rains, you can drive just about anywhere and there's potholes and the slurry, whatever it is, the roads really, I'm not sure, we have good weather in San Diego. And when we have rain, which most communities have, it seems like the roads really are just falling apart. I just took a point just to drive, Genesee up through Claremont, and every road, it seems like somebody needs to invent, a chemist, a certain new type of slurry or cover that is more durable, that will last. I mean, it is, I'm sure, not peculiar to University City, but somebody needs to do that. There seems to be, with all the brilliance around and technology, a way of repairing roads so that we don't always have to go through this whole routine. I mean, it's a headache. It really is. So, for what it's worth.
Well, if you're interested, first of all, that is my department. Fill out a get it done request to fix whatever pothole you find.
Oh, boy, you're getting busy.
Yeah, the streets crew is busy, especially after rains. So that's a get it done, and then you can follow along with any of the other street repairs at streets.sandiego.gov. And we just put out our 5-year, or our pavement management plan that has a lot more details as well about our strategy to fix all the streets, but we need a lot more finance to go with that.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
Since we're asking about specific streets, I know that Governor Drive specifically, most of it is not going to be affected by the pure water construction. But will that be restriped as well as far as the bike lanes? Or is it just
We
staying?
do have another pipeline that we are bundled with on Genesee, or sorry, you said Governor, as it goes east-west, sort of, I think it's all west of Genesee towards Stressman.
Oh,
And I think it has somewhere around it 25 or 26 end of construction.
So you can take parking off the governor?
University and Prov 1.
Or you can take parking off the governor?
No. That one in the draft community plan is keeping the curbside parking, bike lane, travel lane.
There's only gonna be one lane of traffic in each direction though, is that correct?
Right.
So you're taking a lane.
Taking a lane to do
So
it.
you're not taking parking, but you're taking a lane of travel.
In
So
that
this,
case.
so this gentleman said, are you taking parking? You're not taking the parking, but you're taking the
Like, it's
travel
gonna be
lane.
case by case specific.
Yeah,
with all the schools in the area.
yeah, brilliant.
You got that?
Yeah, not my department this time.
Okay. That's a big issue in the community and the plan, to kind of do those ideas, We know what happened in Merritt Mesa, and they had to come back and do something a little different. But to reduce it to one lane going east and west,
Each direction.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
it's a
we
very
know that.
popular thing with all the schools and churches, everything.
They don't care, Barry.
They don't
Whatever
care.
plan it is needs to come out and hang out around the schools.
They need to drive it
And see
in
what
there.
that traffic is like.
You need to do that.
Yes, in the back.
I do live in Governor, and I know it will be very difficult to drive towards Genesee. Once you get to Curie with the parents and people coming out of Vaughn's, and it creates a nightmare already with 4 lanes as it is. So just like, I think we need like a better study. Sorry, the cookies are killing me. But we need like a better study before we like commit to something like that. That's all.
The problem is, they've already committed.
They've already
to it.
planned.
I know.
And that's again an example of what's doing with pure water. Well, they said this, we said that. What do the people say who live there, who pay their taxes, who pay for the paving of these roads? You don't care. Not you specifically, but these organizations don't care.
No.
And that's the problem.
They don't
You
live in the
don't
area.
listen. You don't listen to the people who are speaking up. And that's why nobody's here, because it's a waste of their time. They're talking to the walls. Not your fault, sir, but, you know, you don't bring good news. You bring it, gonna paint the stripe, that's fine. But listen to the people. The people are the ones who live here. I don't know where you live, but you don't live in this neighborhood, then you don't know.
And neither do the people making the decisions. in
Exactly,
this area.
thank you. Okay.
Good job, good job. Doesn't matter.
Any other questions?
You're right, that's
Well,
why
why?
no one's here.
Why?
Okay.
You have any questions? Do you have any questions?
Yeah, why? Because everyone else is gonna
All right, well, thank you for coming out and speaking with